the Weapons Collective Edge.
Welcome to the Weapons Collective Edge. Today we're going to go over the Langmuir Systems Crossfire XL CNC plasma cutter table and some of the assembly of it. I'm going to go through the whole process, and right now I'm going to show you most of the parts that we've got. I'll show you here. So this is going to be the main table. These are the arm that is going to have the gantry on it. The gantry is here. These are the legs with locking rollers on the bottom. Over there is the slats that goes inside the table. These are all the assembly parts. See if we get a little closer picture of here. Most of them are just screws, bolts, nuts. I've got over here, these are the caps. These are just the caps that go into the end of the tube here, like you can see there. Oops. Go right in the tube. And here we've got, these are the ball screws. Rip this open a little more, and you can see it. So, right there, ball screws. And we've got the stepper motors, there's two of them. Pulled one out of the box here. Water table assembly. And all the parts. I've got a motor guard here that is for absorbing the water that comes through your system, that your air needs to be dry as possible. And then there's a arm there to hold your cables for your plasma cutter. But I'm going to start assembling this. The tools I intend to use today will be a 9/16 ratchet, and I will use a 11/32 and a 9/16 open-end wrench. Got here be a 9/64 Allen wrench, and I will use 5/32 Allen wrench, and we got a 3/16 Allen wrench. So most of the bolts right here are going to be 9/16. I have regular Phillips head, flathead, in case I need to use them. Like I said, most of the tools I'm going to have to use them is on our bolts and our socket head cap screws. So socket head cap screws, I've got number 10s, number 8s, 1/4 inch, and we got some nylon 832 nuts, some stainless steel 1/4 20s. So I think this is going to be most of the tools that I need. I've got a rubber mallet that we're going to be using. I've got a square to try to square up our corners. And then other than that, I think that should be the tools that we'll be needing today. And so we'll get started. So this one here is the XL Y-axis lower rail. And through this hole here, the second hole in from the end, is where I am putting the 3/8 16 2.5 inch bolt with the cross tube spacer going up from underneath. Drop that screw in, and then I put my nut on the other side, 3/8 nut, hold the bolt in, screw that together. So I got my Langmuir Systems text on the outside with the Crossfire written on this. That way I've got that facing right. I do the same thing on the opposite side over through here, and if you can see that, and I'm using the second hole out and doing the same exact thing, putting that nut in here and with the lettering on the outside just like that. Okay, now on the opposite side I've got my Langmuir Systems over here. There's no holes in the top rail here on my opposite side, and so I'm taking my 2.5 inch bolt with my tube spacer, loading that in so it sticks out the top, load the hole on, put a 3/8 washer on top, and load my nut on there. Just like that. And then on the opposite side down here, exactly the same thing. So when we finish tightening up these, we want to get this as square as possible. So get a good square in there, see how lined up it is. Big square here, same thing. Just keep checking it, tighten the bolts down, and get that as square as possible on all four corners. So the left front leg with a brake on it, and it has no extra 3 little holes in it. I'll show you what that means. So this other leg here has, if you can see it, it has angle on there, 3 small holes through here. And the leg that I'm using in this front left corner is there's no small holes. So we put that in, comes in through here, put one of these spacers in there, spacers in this part here. We get a long bolt, comes in from the leg side, line it up, feed it through, and then put a 3/8 nut on the other side. That gets it started there. And the same thing, we get 2 of these. One goes in this side, one goes in this side. You get a 3/8. You get a 3/8 by 4.5. We feed that in through here. Feed it in through the other one, and then put a 3/8 nut on the other side. That gets us, as you can see here, our first leg attached. So 4.5 bolt this way, 4.5 bolt this way. So finishing up on this leg, I'll show you it one more time. We have down here one with the brake on it, and there's no 3 holes in through here. I got a bolt coming in through with a nut and 2 of the spacers, and then on this end I've got a 4.5-inch bolt, 2 spacers, and then a nut. And this is the lower XL arm that the gantry is going to go on top of with our brackets. So that's it right there. And that's the overall shape. We got the frame all squared up with square and 1 leg on. We've got the other leg with our brake on it, and this one has the 3 small holes. You probably can't see on camera, but the 3 small holes are on this leg, and we've got our bolt, 4.5-inch bolt that goes through, our 2 spacers with a nut on the other end, and in the same way there. This is our lower rail where the gantry will be mounted. As you can see, those are the 2 legs with brakes. And so put that together. We're going to put our other 2 legs on this other side after I slide it over. Put these 2 here. These are the ones without brakes on them, and we'll assemble those. We're going to assemble the other leg that has the 3 small holes in it right through here. 1, 2, and 3. And that will go on this way right here. Oops, sorry, right here to that way. So that leaves the 3 holes to the outside on this side. And this particular corner is going to get our tool bracket, which holds our shims and our Allen wrench. So that is going to go right up front here. So that's what that does. We'll assemble that now. Come in through here. Slide that through. Slide that through our other spacer. Let's get that Allen wrench out of there. And then put a nut on the other side. There. Same thing here. Slide it through. Get lined up. There we go. And put a nut on this side. And that gives us our front right. And I get this all the way tightened up. Right there. And that will hold our Allen wrench and our two spacers, which are right here. Again, that's the front right corner. Get a closer look for you. So you can see that right through there, right where it says Crossfire. And there's our tool holder and our leg with the 3 holes in it mounted on. Once we get these tubes together, then we can take our covers and put those in there. Tap them in. It covers up the holes so they look nicer. Bugs and stuff don't get inside. So put those on all of our corners that we have, and that will finish off our base frame. Well, there's our finished base frame. As we can see, we got our one rail here that we're going to mount our gantry arm on. Our 4 legs, 2 on this side with brakes, and 2 on this side without. And as we can see, we'll go with the lettering here. We've got Langmuir on the left side, Crossfire on the right side. We've got our bracket here for mounting our tools, and this bracket here, this one here says Langmuir Systems. You can read that there. And that's our shorter piece. This is our shortest piece across here. These are our medium length ones, and this is the longest one over here. And for this one, it's the XL model, so this one's even longer than the normal one that comes with the straight up Crossfire. So there's our main base, and from then on we'll add the rest of the parts. So next we're going to attach the stanchion plates, and we're going to attach our Y-axis rail. So first thing we got to do, a 3-inch bolt with a washer and our stanchion plate. Slide that through, and then get the screws through. Stanchion plate on the other side. 2 more washers, and then 2 more nuts. Goes on. At that point, we leave this loose, just tighten enough to keep them from rattling, and we attach our other plate. So same thing, we get our 3/8 bolt. Whoops, I'll get that later. 3/8 bolt and a washer. Slide that through here. Get my nuts ready, and another washer on the other side. There. We're going to slide this through here. So I'll do one first, put it to the side. Loosen these up just a little more. There. We'll capture that first hole. Find it here. There we go. Put a nut and a washer on that one, keep it in place so it doesn't fall out. And do the same thing for the next hole. Lift that up, find it, slide it through, nut, or a washer, and then a nut. And we've got our Y-axis rail attached. Now we're going to put on our gantry, which is here. After that, we attach the other plates on the other side. So I'll get that here in a minute. So we got our Y rail mounted on the other side. I slid my gantry on there. This is already factory put together, all this right in here, so I didn't have to do any of this work. It's already put together. And you just slide it over the tube, get it somewhere into here, and then I'm going to put this other plate on. So we've got a nut or a washer and a bolt going through. Slide that through on this side. Put your other plate on. And a washer. And a nut. Just lightly get them in there. And then the same thing up here. So just like we did on the other side, fish this around till I find the hole. Get that there. Slide that through that plate. It's a little tricky. Oh, there we go. And we get our washer, our nut. None of this is tight yet. Other side's still loose also. Got to make adjustments and set our height so that nothing is leaning. There we go. And put our washer and our nut. So there we are there. Give you a better view of it. Okay. So put that plate on. And we got our Y rail, which is the shiny rail. Our gantry arm, which slides on there. And then our other stanchion plates to hold the other side of the rail. Now, I've got my water table on here. I don't have it fully mounted yet. Put 4 screws that are self-tapping and have seals on them on one side and then on the other side. And then these will hold your slats all the way across. But I'm working on that stage after I get this on. In the directions it basically said put it on before, but I didn't want this mounted in case I needed to move something. So that's where we're at right now, and that's most of the basic parts of the large parts of the machine. So next we'll attach the Z slide. So this is the Z axis. You raise up and down. So I just slid this piece in there already. It's got a little dovetail in there, and get it behind that plate. That tightens it up. Put on our, let's see what we got. This is our fixed V block. You slide a 1024, and that's a 1/2 inch. Slide that 1024 1/2 inch in there. Put it onto here and attach that. On like that. Tighten that up. And then this is our floating V block with stainless steel screws right there. Those are 1/4 20 by 1.5 inches. And those thread in there. I just leave those loose. Tighten up my 1024. There's our Z axis. So that'll slide up and down when we get all of our slots in here. That'll give you where you can put your shim underneath your torch. So this is your torch head mount right through here. And that'll shim underneath. When we get to that step, I'll show that. But that's attached right now. I kind of leveled this out just a little bit. We're going to level it later with the whole table when that gets all attached and put all our slats in there. And I also moderately leveled this out. So that's how this is all kind of done. You know, the floor might not be flat, so you can only do so much. But this slides this direction, and this slides in this direction. So that's your Y and your X. So we install the brass tank fitting in the middle of the water table. There's a screw in the bottom for your emptying out. So I'm just going to put that in prior to putting it through the hole. There's a nitrile washer on there. Slide that through. Get a big nut. Put that on the other side. And there it is. So that'll be our drain plug. Some people flange this and pull this down so that this is even with the top. I may do that, but right now I'm just going to attach it the way that it was assembled. So there it is. Well, that's the end of part one. This is of our Langmuir Systems plasma cutter. And this is the Crossfire XL, was the extra size rail that I got, so it'd have a little more travel. But in the next part two, we will have all the other parts that get added to it, your stepper motors and all the other parts that need to go on. So we'll see you in part two. See ya.